I just got out of jail, guys, and I'm about to take my first shower since getting out.
Before he ever learned how to drive a car, Jack Doherty learned how to drive the internet. While most kids his age were doing homework and waiting for life to happen, he was building a digital empire from his bedroom, one stunt, one prank, one adrenaline-fueled video at a time. His journey wasn't planned, it wasn't polished, and it wasn't perfect. It was raw, chaotic, and unstoppable. This is the story of the kid who refused to grow up quietly and instead grew up in front of millions. Jack Doherty entered the world on October 8, 2003 in Long Island, New York, a place where quiet suburban streets met the restless heartbeat of the next generation. From the very beginning, his parents sensed that Jack wasn't going to be an ordinary child. Even as a toddler, he carried a spark in his eyes, something bright, restless, and almost uncontrollable. He didn't learn to walk the way most kids did. He learned to run. He became a blur moving through hallways, a streak of wide-eyed adventure, a boy whose energy demanded attention and exhausted every adult around him. Growing up, Jack lived in a home where the energy seemed to rise and fall depending on which sibling was laughing, arguing, or sprinting across the kitchen. His parents, Mark and Anna, were hardworking, grounded people parents who believed in discipline, responsibility, and keeping their children connected to reality. But raising Jack meant relearning everything they thought they knew about parenting. He did not fit inside the typical boxes. The world demanded he sit down, listen quietly, and follow rules. But Jack's spirit demanded the opposite: movement, expression, risk, curiosity, and the freedom to explore whatever caught his attention. His earliest years were defined by this tug of war between expectations and passion. Jack's restlessness didn't always translate into trouble, though sometimes it did. More often, it became creativity. While other kids were stacking blocks or coloring books, Jack was flipping off furniture, jumping over couches, and experimenting with what his small body could do. Athleticism came naturally to him. He was the kid climbing trees faster than adults could shout his name, the one riding scooters off mini ramps, and the one whose knees were constantly scraped from some adventure on a bike or trampoline. Where some parents might have scolded or restricted, Jack's parents learned to watch him closely instead to guide, rather than stop him. They discovered that telling Jack don't do that only made him want to do it more. So instead, they tried to show him how to be careful, how to think before he jumped, and how to survive the wild energy that defined him. Childhood for Jack was physical, loud, unpredictable, and full of motion. And without realizing it, this very energy would become the foundation of his future career. When Jack started school, it quickly became clear that the classroom environment wasn't built for a child like him. Teachers described him as bright, sharp, quick-thinking, but unable to sit still. His attention drifted easily, not because he wasn't smart, but because his mind seemed to leap ahead faster than instructions could be spoken. He learned better by doing, by experimenting, by challenging. But schools weren't designed for kinetic learners, and Jack's energy often clashed with the traditional system. While other students took notes, Jack tapped his foot, spun pencils between his fingers, or stared out the window imagining worlds outside the classroom walls. Teachers tried to redirect him with structure or discipline, but Jack didn't respond to strict rules. He responded to excitement, creativity, adrenaline. He wasn't disruptive out of malice, he was simply wired differently, and no one quite knew what to do with him. One teacher once told his parents, "Jack has talent, but he needs to learn to follow the rules." His father left the meeting frustrated, but his mother saw something else. She saw that their son was not meant to be confined. Jack wasn't broken, the system just wasn't built for someone like him. And though Jack didn't yet understand it, this mismatch between who he was and what the world expected from him would eventually become the very reason millions of people would later watch him online. The first true indication of Jack's future came unexpectedly during a family gathering. While his relatives chatted in the living room, young Jack, no more than 8 years old, grabbed his father's old camcorder and began filming everything. He recorded the dog, the dishes, the snow falling outside, and eventually himself. When he turned the camera around and pointed it at his face, something clicked, something internal, instinctive, almost electric. Jack started talking to the camera like it was a friend, a secret audience waiting to hear whatever he had to say. It didn't matter that the footage was shaky and chaotic. What mattered was how alive he felt doing it. He performed jokes, flips, random stunts, and narrated his day with a natural confidence uncommon in kids his age. When his parents found the tape later, they laughed, not realizing that they had just witnessed the earliest version of a future star, raw, unfiltered, and bursting with charisma. Jack soon began carrying cameras around the house, filming skits with his siblings, making prank videos long before he knew what a prank channel was, and creating scenes that revolved around excitement and adrenaline. He wasn't trained to entertain, he simply was entertaining. And while he didn't know it then, YouTube was already beginning to grow into the global giant that would one day make personalities like him world famous. Jack grew up at the perfect moment in internet history. YouTube was booming, Vine introduced rapid-fire comedy, and TikTok's style of fast-paced content was just around the corner. Kids his age were no longer dreaming of being firefighters or astronauts. They dreamed of being creators, influencers, entertainers with millions of fans. And Jack, with his natural energy, seemed destined for a world where attention was the most valuable currency. He didn't yet understand algorithms or monetization or content strategy. What he understood was excitement, fun, risk, entertainment. He knew how to make people laugh and how to grab attention without trying. And even though he was still a kid with homework and a curfew, something in him was quietly preparing for the digital future. Jack's parents and siblings played a crucial role in his early identity. His father was strict but loving, a man who believed in accountability and honesty. His mother was softer, more nurturing, and deeply supportive of Jack's creativity. His siblings were partners in chaos, co-stars in his early videos, accomplices in his pranks, and referees during his highest energy moments. At home, Jack learned loyalty, humor, resilience, and the ability to entertain a room even when he wasn't trying. These early lessons became emotional fuel that shaped not only his personality, but also the content he would later bring to millions. Behind the loud, energetic persona the world would come to know, there was also a boy who craved connection, approval, and belonging, a boy whose family gave him the confidence to keep pushing forward even when the world didn't understand him. By the time Jack reached his early teens, the internet wasn't just a hobby, it was becoming a calling. He watched famous YouTubers, studied how they talked, how they filmed, how they built communities. He saw boys not much older than him buying houses, cars, and living lifestyles that felt impossibly glamorous. Something stirred inside him, not jealousy, but inspiration. Jack didn't say it out loud yet, but the dream was forming. He wanted to be a YouTube star. Not later, not someday. He wanted it now. He wanted a life bigger than school hallways and weekend chores. He wanted a life where his energy wasn't a problem but a superpower. A life where the louder he became, the more the world listened. And soon, very soon, the world would listen. The rise of Jack Doherty did not begin with fame, money, or even a camera. It began with a question he couldn't stop asking himself. Why not me? It was a question that took root during his early teenage years when everything around him felt too small, too limiting, too predictable. While other kids were busy fitting in, Jack felt a fire in his chest, something he didn't yet know how to express. Part of it was adrenaline, part of it was rebellion, and part of it was a deep hunger for a life bigger than the one laid out in front of him. He had watched countless YouTubers before him: Roman Atwood, Jake Paul, Danny Duncan turn chaos into entertainment and entertainment into opportunity. It wasn't envy he felt, it was recognition. He looked at the screen and thought, I can do this. And I can do it my way. The first spark came in the form of a cheap camera and an idea that was too loud to ignore. Jack had been experimenting with content, lightly tiny videos, silly clips, nothing planned, but one day, something shifted. He realized people reacted most when he was fearless. When he jumped off something to high, when he pulled a prank to wild, when he pushed boundaries others didn't dare to touch. It wasn't recklessness for the sake of it, it was expression. Jack was figuring out how to turn his restless energy into something that felt like a calling. If school bored him, content creation electrified him. If rules annoyed him, the camera freed him. And once he felt the rush of performing, the rush of creating, the rush of people watching, he couldn't go back. At 13, he filmed a clip that would change everything, the now legendary flip trick shots moment. It was a simple idea: front flips, back flips, stunts he had practiced until he could land them with the ease of a seasoned acrobat. But it wasn't the flip itself that caught fire. It was the confidence, the attitude, the electric charisma bursting through the frame. Jack uploaded it thinking nothing of it. The internet had other plans. Overnight, the video gained tens of thousands of views. By morning, his subscriber count had doubled. By week's end, he had become a name whispered around YouTube's rising star circles. It didn't matter that he was just a kid. The platform recognized energy, and Jack's energy was volcanic. But attention is a strange thing. It feeds you, but it tests you. With virality came judgment. With support came criticism. With fame came pressure he wasn't prepared for. Teachers who once ignored him now lectured him about responsibility. Kids who never noticed him now either praised him or mocked him. His world was tilting, and he was barely old enough to understand how to balance it. But instead of retreating, Jack pushed harder. Every new subscriber felt like fuel. Every comment, good or bad, felt like a challenge. The world had finally looked at him, and he wasn't going to let it look away. This was the birth of the Jack Doherty persona, the fearless prankster, the stunt kid, the wild card with unlimited energy. But behind that persona was a young boy still trying to understand himself. Fame made him louder, but it also made him think deeper. Who was he when the camera turned off? Why did he crave this so much? Why did performing make him feel alive in a way nothing else could? He didn't have the answer yet, but he was determined to find it through action, through bigger stunts, crazier pranks, and videos that pushed him to the edge of what a kid his age should have been doing. And as he pushed those boundaries, the world kept watching. His confidence grew, his bravery sharpened, and his sense of identity began to crystallize. Bit by bit, he discovered that he didn't want to be like other creators. He wanted to be more, louder, bolder, and tamed. He wasn't looking for safe fun. He wanted chaos, color, motion, life lived in high definition with the volume turned all the way up. His childhood home became his first studio. His town became his first playground. His camera became his first weapon of possibility. And with every upload, Jack wasn't just building a YouTube channel, he was building a new version of himself. One that didn't fear the spotlight, but demanded it. One that didn't want a normal life, but a legendary one. It was during this period that Jack realized something essential. Fame wasn't the goal, freedom was. YouTube wasn't just entertainment, it was his escape hatch, his launchpad, his claim to a future where he could rewrite the rules, define his own success, and carve out a place in a world that didn't naturally make space for kids like him. Jack Doherty didn't just enter his teenage years, he exploded into them. The world of YouTube was evolving quickly, shifting from simple vlogs to high-intensity entertainment, and Jack felt as if the platform itself had been built for him. By now, he had tasted the intoxicating blend of adrenaline and attention, and it awakened something inside him that refused to settle. He wasn't just making videos anymore, he was building momentum, crafting an identity, and testing the boundaries of what a young creator could become. It was during this turbulent, thrilling period that Jack discovered the true engine of virality: risk. Safe videos got views, but dangerous ones got attention. The kind of attention that sparked debates, reaction videos, criticism, praise, and unstoppable engagement. And Jack, with his natural fearlessness, understood instinctively that the internet rewarded those who dared to go further. So he went further. His early stunt videos became a blueprint for the Jack Doherty brand: loud, unpredictable, and impossible to ignore. Whether he was flipping off rooftops, skating down stair rails way too steep for his age, or pulling pranks that left adults bewildered and teenagers cheering, Jack learned quickly that his audience didn't just want entertainment. They wanted intensity, they wanted chaos wrapped in confidence. They wanted the thrill of "I can't believe he did that," and Jack delivered. The turning point came when one of his stunt videos landed on a major YouTube recommendation wave. Suddenly, his analytics skyrocketed, views turned into hundreds of thousands, then millions. His subscriber count surged like a rocket lifting off. It felt unreal surreal, like someone had flipped a switch and turned him from a local kid into an internet sensation. People across the country knew his name. Teens in different states quoted his lines. Strangers recognized him in malls. Even adults who didn't fully understand YouTube found themselves hearing about him through their kids. But viral fame, while electrifying, came with shadows. The pressure grew. More eyes meant more expectations. More fame meant more critics. More opportunities meant bigger risks. Jack felt the weight of the spotlight pressing down on him even as he chased it. He was young, too young to fully process the complexities of sudden fame, but driven enough to push through them. His family watched with a mix of pride and worrying. Pride because their son had achieved something remarkable. Worrying because they knew that fame came with sharp edges. Every new video carried the risk of injury, drama, or backlash. But Jack wasn't afraid of consequences, he was afraid of becoming boring. And nothing scared him more than going unnoticed again. His confidence transformed into something sharper, an edge, a boldness, a hunger. He wanted to compete with bigger creators, match their energy, even surpass them. And that ambition fueled the next phase of his evolution: pranks. Jack discovered that pranks created emotional reactions, sometimes funny, sometimes shocking, sometimes outrageous. They were unpredictable, unscripted, and unfiltered, and that made them viral gold. He began crafting scenarios that made people laugh, sometimes cringe, sometimes argue in the comments, but always react. And reaction was everything. His prank videos drew millions. Millions became tens of millions. Suddenly, he wasn't just that stunt kid, he was a YouTube force. With fame came collaboration, his first real entrance into the world of other creators. Jack found himself invited into circles he once only watched on a screen. Bigger names reached out, influencers wanted him in their videos. He was no longer an outsider, he had become a rising star in an industry built on attention. But attention is a fireworm when you're near it, destructive when you get too close. His life started changing fast, too fast, maybe. Fame began pushing him into a new version of himself, louder, braver, and sometimes more reckless. The kid who once uploaded videos for fun was now strategizing ideas that would keep him relevant, keep him viral, keep him on top. And with every video, he felt the stakes rising. YouTube wasn't just a hobby anymore, it was his world, his identity, his battlefield. Jack Doherty's net worth is a testament to how a young creator can transform talent, energy, and bold content into a multi-million-dollar empire. While most teenagers are focused on school, social life, and small dreams, Jack turned the digital world into his playground and his business. His YouTube channels alone bring in hundreds of thousands of dollars every month, driven by millions of views, highly engaged audiences, and a relentless upload schedule. Beyond ad revenue, Jack has secured numerous brand deals, partnerships, and sponsorships that add millions to his yearly earnings, proving that companies recognize the influence and reach of his content. One of his most lucrative contracts comes from the streaming platform Kick, reportedly worth several $1 million, a deal that guarantees income while allowing him to focus on producing high-energy, viral content for his ever-growing fan base. Additionally, his merchandise line generates millions more annually, fueled by the loyalty and enthusiasm of his fans who proudly wear his branding and support his creative endeavors. Jack's savvy investments in real estate further bolster his fortune, with luxury properties serving both as personal residences and income-generating assets. Altogether, these streams combine to give Jack Doherty a net worth estimated between $20 and $30 million, a number that continues to rise as he expands his brand, takes bigger creative risks, and leverages every opportunity to grow his influence. At such a young age, Jack is not just a content creator, he is a self-made entrepreneur whose financial success mirrors his unstoppable rise on the internet. Jack Doherty's car collection is a reflection of his meteoric rise and his taste for high-octane living, perfectly matching the energy and extravagance of his online persona. By the age of 20, he has amassed a fleet of vehicles that many seasoned celebrities would envy, each carefully chosen not only for performance and style, but also for their impact on his content. Among the most recognizable in his collection is the Lamborghini Huracan Evo, a bright and customized supercar that perfectly complements the flashy, adrenaline-filled aesthetic of his videos. He also owns a Tesla Model X Plaid, an electric powerhouse that blends speed, technology, and practicality for daily driving while still offering jaw-dropping performance. Adding to his lineup is the iconic Mercedes-AMG G63, commonly known as the G-Wagon, a vehicle that signifies luxury and dominance, while the Dodge Hellcat serves as his favorite for high-speed stunts and thrilling content. Jack has also invested in a McLaren 600LT, a supercar that exemplifies speed, precision, and design, perfectly suited for the dramatic entrances and high-energy moments that dominate his videos. Beyond these luxury vehicles, he frequently purchases specialty trucks and custom cars specifically for content creation, knowing that each new edition can be featured in stunts, pranks, or cinematic sequences that keep his audience engaged. Some vehicles are modified, others are eventually replaced, and a few are even wrecked in the name of viral entertainment, but each contributes to a collection valued at over $1 million. More than just possessions, Jack's cars are extensions of his brand, tools for storytelling, and symbols of the wealth and freedom he has achieved at a remarkably young age, giving his fans a glimpse into the high-speed lifestyle of one of YouTube's most daring creators. Jack Doherty's real estate holdings reflect not only his immense wealth, but also the way he has strategically built a lifestyle that blends comfort, luxury, and content creation. Despite being just 20 years old, he has already acquired multi-million-dollar properties that serve as both personal residences and filming locations for his high-energy videos. His primary home is a spectacular waterfront mansion in Miami, estimated to be worth between $10 and $12 million. The property features expansive glass walls that offer panoramic views of the water, a private dock, a massive swimming pool, and multiple guest suites, making it ideal for hosting friends, collaborators, and filming elaborate video concepts. The interior is outfitted with modern luxury furniture, state-of-the-art technology, and dedicated spaces designed specifically for content creation, ensuring that every corner of the home is optimized for both comfort and creativity. Prior to Miami, Jack lived in several luxury mansions in Los Angeles, each valued between $5 and $7 million, where sprawling layouts, rooftop terraces, home theaters, and expansive backyards served as the perfect backdrop for his viral stunts and pranks. Beyond these primary residences, he is rumored to own additional properties and rental homes that serve multiple purposes, from temporary filming spaces to strategic investments for long-term growth. Jack's approach to real estate shows a clear understanding of wealth building. Every property is not just a place to live, but also a tool to enhance his brand, elevate his content, and expand his influence. His luxurious homes are more than just symbols of success, they are an integral part of the empire he has built, reflecting both his ambition and his ability to merge lifestyle with business strategy at a remarkably young age.